Let's talk about something that's way more than just a buzzword in business: integrity. Think of it like a shield. And today, we're going to sharpen that shield. We're diving deep into our anti-bribery and anti-corruption policy. And look, this isn't about just memorizing a bunch of rules. It's about giving you the actual tools you need to protect yourself, your team, and honestly, our entire reputation.
Okay, let's get one thing straight right from the very beginning. This is the foundation, the bedrock of everything we're talking about today. The company does not tolerate bribery or corruption in any form. I mean, there are no gray areas here, no wiggle room, no exceptions. It's a total 100% zero tolerance commitment, period. So you might be asking, how do we actually put this into practice every day? Well, here's the plan. First, we're going to really nail down the unbreakable rule. Then we'll get to know the enemy, defining what we're actually up against. After that, we'll dive into some real-world red flags so you can spot them. Then we'll cover power and responsibility. And finally, and this is a big one, we'll talk about why your voice matters so much in all of this. Sound good? Let's jump in.
All right, first up, the unbreakable rule. Like I said, this is our absolute, non-negotiable, zero-tolerance commitment.
And just so we're clear, this commitment isn't just words on a page. It has real teeth. A violation is, well, it's not a slap on the wrist. It could lead to serious disciplinary action, all the way up to termination of employment. And it doesn't stop there. The company's actually legally required to report this stuff to the authorities. So yeah, the stakes for you personally and professionally are incredibly high. Okay, so to follow this rule, you've got to know what you're even looking for, right? Which brings us perfectly to our next section, know the enemy. Let's break down exactly what we mean by bribery and corruption. So this is super important to get. There's a difference between the two. Bribery, that's a very specific thing. It's when you offer or someone offers you something of value, gratification is the official term, to get some kind of unfair business advantage. Corruption? Well, that's the big umbrella term. It covers any abusive power you've been entrusted with. That includes bribery for sure, but also other stuff like false claims. So just think of it this way. All bribery is corruption, but not all corruption is bribery. So what does that actually look like in the real world? It means some things are just completely off limits always. No bribes. Full stop. No so-called facilitation payments to grease the wheels and speed things up. Absolutely no kickbacks, and no political contributions made to try and improperly influence a decision. These are the hard lines in the sand, and they apply everywhere we do business. All right, this is where the rubber meets the road. Time to move from theory to reality. Let's talk about real-world red flags. How do you spot these threats when you're just doing your job day to day? Okay, let's play out a scenario. Imagine this. You're trying to get a totally routine permit pushed through. All your paperwork is in order, everything is perfect, and you are 100% legally entitled to this permit. But the official you're dealing with kind of hints that a little bit of cash could, speed things up. It can feel like a really common situation, almost harmless, doesn't it? So what do? What is this? Is it just a simple fee to get things moving? Or is it something more, something our policy calls a prohibited facilitation payment? The answer couldn't be clear. You refuse and you report it. That's the textbook definition of a prohibited facilitation payment. You're paying to speed up something you're already supposed to get. And our policy is absolute on this. We just don't do it. All right, let's try another one. Scenario 2. Your team just went through a whole fair process and you awarded a big contract to a new supplier. Awesome. But then, a few days later, that supplier calls you, personally, and offers to send a little personal rebate directly to your bank account just as a thank you. So what are we looking at here? Is this just a friendly gesture, a thank you for the business? Or is it what it sounds like, something much worse, like an illegal kickback? And again, there's no gray area here. The answer is simple. You decline it on the spot, and you report it to compliance immediately. This is not a thank you. This is a prohibited kickback, and it's designed to poison the well of that business relationship right from the get-go. And look, corruption isn't always about a bag of cash. Let's look at a couple more examples. What if a vendor asks you to help them submit an invoice with, let's say, creative details? That's a false claim. Your job? Don't submit it, and report it if you find it. Or how about this one? You're involved in picking a new vendor, and it turns out your cousin owns one of the companies bidding for the job.
That is a classic abusive position scenario. The only right move is to declare that conflict of interest and step away from the decision-making process completely.
But hey, not every situation is as black and white as an outright bribe, right? Sometimes the lines can feel a little blurry. And that brings us to our next section, power and responsibility. Let's talk about how to handle those trickier situations, like business gifts or taking someone out for a meal.
This checklist right here, this is your best friend. Before you even think about offering or accepting any kind of gift or hospitality, you have to run through these questions. And you have to get a yes for every single one. Is it legal? Is there a legitimate business reason for it? Is it absolutely clear that it's not in return for getting business? Is it something of modest value? Is it just an occasional thing? And is it all properly documented? If you get even one no in that list, then the answer is no. The gift isn't allowed. And honestly, if you only remember one thing from this section, make it this. This is the golden rule. When you're in doubt, you must ask for guidance before you do anything. Don't guess. Don't just assume it's okay. Talk to your line manager, talk to the compliance team. Asking first is the absolute best way to protect yourself.
This all leads us to our last and I think most important section. Your voice matters. Because, look, a policy is just paper. It's only as strong as the people who actually live it every day. So let's talk about how you can report a concern and, just as importantly, how you're protected when you do.
We've tried to make the reporting process as simple and safe as possible. The number one rule is to raise concerns early. Don't sit on it. Talk to your line manager, talk to compliance, or talk to a director. The sooner we know about something, the better we can handle it. And for those really sensitive situations, we have confidential whistleblowing procedures in place. These channels exist for you to support you.
So you might be wondering, how serious are we about protecting you when you speak up? Well, the commitment is 100%. And that's not just a goal we're aiming for, it's an absolute guarantee.
This next bit is so important. I'm just going to read it directly from our policy. It says, our company will support anyone who raises concerns in good faith, even if an investigation finds that they were mistaken. Did you catch that key phrase? In good faith. That means as long as you genuinely believe something might be wrong, you are completely protected. You will never be penalized for being wrong. The only mistake is staying silent. That is our promise to you. No retaliation, ever.
Okay, so let's boil it all down. What are the big takeaways? 1. Any business courtesy has to be modest and legal. 2. Never, ever try to influence a decision with a gift. 3. If you're even a little bit unsure, you always ask first. 4. Report your concerns and report them early. And finally, the most important one, you are absolutely protected when you speak up.
Let's end on this thought. At the end of the day, this policy isn't just a document, and integrity isn't just some nice word we use. It's really the sum of all the little choices that each of us makes every single day. The real strength of our company's ethics, it all comes down to the very next decision that you have to make. So the only question that's left is, what choice will you make?